Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome on today's webinar. We'll be starting in a couple of minutes. My name is Slav Baranowski. I am responsible for Qlik and Talend product sales in Poland and Czech Republic. This week we are running a series of webinars under Data Integration Week name. On Monday, we've made introduction and provided best practices on common integration scenarios. On Tuesday, you've heard about data consolidation in heterogeneous environments with example of Talend implementation in Carrefour Romania by our partner BT Provider. Yesterday was a great session and we talked about data profiling and improving data quality. It was based on the example of Talend implementation for Ministry of Education in Slovak Republic. The implementation has been done and the session was provided by our partner MIM from Slovakia. Today is the day 4, Thursday. We'll talk about data warehouse modernization. So you will hear a bit about data warehouse, also about modernization. But I think the most of the session will be about how to avoid those situations you have been maybe facing before, in which data warehouse becomes actually a data mess or data swamp. And as always in any illness, there are two options. The best one is to avoid, and in case this is not possible, to cure this situation. So this is what you will hear about today. In case you are not so much interested in neither data warehouse nor modernization, you will also hear about a bit of the history and eventually animals, or at least one animal, but I won't spoil too much. Last reminder, feel free to ask questions using the Q&A panel, and we'll try to respond to all of these questions if possible towards end of the session, which will be led, by the way, by Karol Pik, very experienced Talend architect, representing our very experienced also Talend partner, Promity. With that, Karol, I am handing over to you. Stage is yours.
So thank you for the very nice introduction. I will try to keep the track of the very good presentations. I'll do my best. I hope you will not be bored by me. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the data warehouse, let's say in general. So we'll jump to the first slide. And as Sławek already mentioned, one caveat I would like to start with. I'm not a historian, neither horse lover, but I want you to get these 2 points as a leitmotif of today's presentation. It will be slightly different than the other ones you've been enjoying. I want to talk about a journey of our customer we went through during the data warehouse implementation process. Presentation as such will be rather technical, so I'll provide you with a very short introduction to the tool. And well, to make a long story short, we'll talk today about, as Sławek mentioned, history. This is the animal, he said, horses, heaven, hell, and hope, and everything in the context of Talend data fabric. And because we can remember only 3 things in the same time, the way I'm describing the success of my presentation today is the fact. that on the end of this, you will be able to recognize and remember 3 out of 5 words mentioned here. So without further ado, let's start. Each presentation, like an ice skating competition, starts with the compulsory program. So few words about the Promity. Our company, starting from 2009 even, delivers solutions to specific user challenges. Company has grown and right now is divided into 5 product families division. And short description, starting from the left. Data services delivers products related to data processing. This is the place we are using Qlik Talend Data Fabric, something you already heard about, and I'll try to explain a little bit more about that. This is the primary tool of our choice, but not the only. So we are using our experience to help customers dealing with the data. Data science, this is another group. This is the place we are working with images, movies, cameras, and sources as a sources of data. We build dedicated solutions for various industries, starting from construction safety monitoring systems, milk monitoring analysis, cows monitoring, and others. Very fascinating world. Still growing. Software. It's not another software factory. Being an Atlassian partner, we are active marketplace participant, delivering dedicated Jira plugins. This is the place that dedicated systems for our customers are created, resolving their particular problems. Consulting. Deep understanding of customer needs and seniority of our consultants allows us to deliver consulting services in areas of corporate and IT architecture and governance, data quality, project management, and digital transformation of organization. RPA. RPA, this is the youngest division of our company, delivers automation and robotization of business processes. Our strength is the ability to deliver multi-divisional products. This is something I've mentioned on my Monday's short presentation. Knowledge and skills created in particular division is widely used in others. This allows us to deliver complete products that are wing-to-wing solutions for our customer. It's worth to mention that we want to share our knowledge with other customers, with our customers. That's why we decided to create Promity Academy, where customers can find dedicated trainings and support for various subjects of rapidly growing digital environment. And as I promised, a short introduction to the tool. One of the most important pieces of Data Fabric is Talend Data Integration Studio. The tool has been mentioned in previous presentations already. So just a glance overview of that. For those who have never seen the tool, Talend Studio is an Eclipse-based application offering rapid software development by dragging and dropping components. The main use case for Studio is a data transformation, but not only. Within Studio, we are able to create jobs which can perform various tasks. This is a Java-based solution, so knowledge of Java is a big advantage, but not a must. In general, screen is divided into 4 parts. On the left-hand side, this is the repository we are creating our, let's say, artifacts. So all jobs which are created by us are stored here, or connections, or variables, and others. A pretty long list, I don't want to dive into it. In the middle, we have job canvas. This is the place we are creating the job. As you see, job is very, very straightforward. We have components. Components are coming from the library, which is on the right-hand side. We just simply pick up the component, drag the component, place it on the canvas, and then we connect one component to another. We can use various kinds of connections. This is something which is very useful as well. And then on the bottom we have component repository. Sorry. Here we have the component repository, and then on the bottom we have parameters and execution panel. Each component has his description inside. Some of them are very simple, like here. Some components have very complicated, maybe not complicated, but extended parameterization panels, which allows us to perform various, as an example here, joins or modifications of the flow of the data. As a result, we are receiving the job, which is here, which is pretty straightforward. This is the kind of, let's say, REST job, which expects that it will be called, process data, and responses with processed data as the response. Talend offers within the palette over 900 components, which are divided into logical groups. Each component, as I mentioned, has the separate area for the parameterization. So truly speaking, what we need to just to drag the component and put some information we can find or ask somebody, or if we know what we want to do, usually we know what we want to do, we put those parameters inside, and that's it. That allows us to create the job. And one of the functionalities which has been mentioned already, we can drag components from the right-hand side, but as it was mentioned already, we can even drag and reuse components or jobs, elements we've created already. That was mentioned in previous presentations, and we've been talking, or we've been listening to, because I was not talking, I was listening, about the reusage of jobs and micro jobs, which are then becoming a part of the master job. This is the way Talend offers huge flexibility and reusability of the activities we've already performed. Thank you. Any questions? No, I'm just kidding. We are going further. Let's start with the first H, which is standing for the history. In the 18th century, Father Benedict Chmielowski was tempted to create the first Polish encyclopedia. He has wrote a kind of compendium of knowledge about the world around him. In this work, we can find a description of surrounding objects, phenomena, explanation of the basic rules. And of course, it could not miss the definition of the horse, which over his time became one of the most famous sentences here in Poland, defining the obvious. The whole definition consists a single sentence, and in his time, truly speaking, there was nothing more to be added. And the sentence is, a horse, for what it is, everyone can see. And probably you are wondering, why did I take the liberty of quoting this definition in a presentation about data warehousing? Well, because nowadays, a data warehouse is a kind of horse in our organization. Everybody has it, or wants it, maintains it, and exactly knows what's that. In the age of the internet, universal access to the data and ease of acquiring knowledge, we can easily Google the definition. We can learn it and even sometimes understand it. We know one thing: no matter how big company we are, we work with data. Everyone around is using the data, implement them as a vital resource of our organization. And the proper use of the data may not guarantee, but it will certainly enable an organization to grow. So one statement about the data warehouse. In general, we have two approaches in the data warehousing. This is ETL, which stands for extract, transform, and load, and ELT, which stands for extract, load, and then transform. We will not talk about details of approaches. It's only worth to mention that both of them are starting with load, which in my opinion is the most critical element of a whole data warehouse creation and maintenance process. Now I'd like to show you one example of extract part problems faced by our customer, not in the process of creation, but during the data warehouse growth, because this is something we are looking for. And here the story starts. The data warehouse need emerged to grow the business. Since this was the first approach to the data warehousing in this organization, and the project of this type in the organization was done mainly by internal forces and MVP approach was dedicated upon. So let's do something which is working and proving that this bird can fly. Relatively small but complete data set has been chosen. Since the client already had some experience with Talend because they replaced another tool used for ETL processes with Talend, they've decided to build the solution by their internal forces with little involvement of outside consultants. Why this involvement was needed? Due to the fact that one of the data sources was SAP system. SAP system has been interfaced via TIBCO interface, which we were not able to replace because it was used by another systems as well. So the data from SAP were collected through the TIBCO. That was the area of the support the customer was looking for. As a result, Talend jobs have been created. They have been scheduled, deployed, scheduled, and then they've been running on a daily operations once per day. And it's worth to mention, because that's something we will concentrate for a while later on the TIBCO interface. The peculiarity of the interface is that this is the REST interface, operating on a strictly defined request and response format in a form of XML files. The query must be properly formatted. No one of the elements which is there can be omitted. So we have the data record, which does nothing but has to exist. Then we have the columns definition we are interested in. And of course, this part varies from table to table. We have different tables, so we have different columns, different number of columns, names, and so on and so on. The second or the third part, this is the query condition. The query condition has to be created again in a special way. And it's worth to mention that the interface assumes pagination of the data. So all the responsibility of control over the completeness of the received data rests on the shoulders of the inquirer. So we have additional parameters. Those parameters are describing the name of the table, starting rows, number of rows we have to, let's say, skip. So that's the place we talk about the pagination, number of rows we are interested in. And of course, the answer is structured as well. And then it consists of, again, some pieces of the information. We have data records. Each data record is as a single line, text line. We have the area which defines columns received. So we have the name of the column. We have the information where the data for that particular column start in a data record string. What is the length of the data? What is the type and the name of the column? Then we have something we know already, because there are the options which are returned in the response. What was interesting is that for each table, we've been that there was a need to create a separate query dedicated for a certain table, and we've been receiving different dedicated, let's call it that way, dedicated answers. The good thing is that the solution was prepared, tested, and put into the production, and it really turned out to be a hit. So from the very beginning, the business was really happy that was able to collect data for the limited number of tables. That's true. Once a day, that's true. But when you start to eat, you want more. And that's the perfect time for another piece of the history. I would like to tell you the story of one of the first Polish celebrity. In the interwar times in Warsaw lived General Beneva Długoszowski, difficult name, widely known participant of public life of Warsaw, hero of many stories and author of many jokes, sayings. he was an author of one of the most famous, popular sentence used by today in Poland. And the sentence is, the jokes are over, the stairs have begun. And why he said this? Earlier he had a bet. Well, sorry, the beginning is slightly different. He was to say this sentence standing on his horse in front of the stairs of the Arcadia restaurant in Poland, in Warsaw. And why he said this? Earlier he had a bet that he would ride his horse up to the second floor. Here in Poland, we used to say this when the whole easy part of the project activity is already done, and now problems came. By the way, he won this bet. And why do I tell you this story? Let's come back to our client and his data warehouse project. As I said, MVP was working fine. Everybody were happy, and they wanted more and more. So new requests have been raised to add additional tables. If we are adding additional tables, we are adding additional structures. The customer has recognized that some of those tables are dependent one on each other. So there is a kind of, let's say, orchestration needed which allows to collect the proper data. The number of change requests could be was really huge. Another thing was that business recognized that he's interested in more frequent data access. They were not interested once a day. So the job has been rescheduled. That's an easy part because it's just a change on the scheduler from once a day to 24 times per day. So every hour, a new set of data has been collected and provided. And then they've recognized that the whole architecture, especially for the sub part, starts to be a bottleneck for the solution. The number of changes and the way they have been provided into the IT can be paraphrased by the very short story. Think, how do you feel when you are a building builder and you've just finished 2 floors building, and the investor says, I really like it. I really love this building. Please add the basement and underground garage. That's a real nightmare. It was a short way from heaven to hell. Simple jobs started to be complicated. They've been growing. So what happened? Problems, challenges. Sizes of the final jobs are really big. Complexity of the solution is hard to describe, even hard to describe. Change management is almost impossible. For each table, we have separate job. Time to market is not acceptable by business. Why? Because if we change something, we have to test it, we have to promote it, we have to deploy it, and so on and so on. So there are days, there are weeks. And of course, business says, we want more. So some actions have to be taken. Yeah. And what was needed? They've been looking for the rider because the white horse was already in place. They've been using Talend. So they knew we have the tool, we need somebody who can help us and redesign the whole project or the whole solution in a way to eliminate the growth bottlenecks that was described as a single task, decrease development time or time to market. And by the way, if we've been doing something, let's add some flexibility and control to the jobs. So the let's say that the reshaping project has been launched. And what happened? Thanks to the fact that the project was really huge, the biggest weakness of the solution, which is the complexity, became a foundation for the strength of the new approach. The deep analysis shown that the whole process can be pretty well reworked, and truly speaking, should be reworked. Analyzing those tables and those jobs which have been developed already, we found that each job has, in general, three parts: query definition, which varies from job to job; data collection, which is relatively stable; and extract preparation, which is again varying from job to job because the structure of the data returned is different. There was another finding as well, that we have some jobs which are, let's call them time related. So the query consists some kind of time constraints, and another jobs or tables which are index related. This is very important distinction between those jobs, because in the first case, we don't know how much data we will get, because we are collecting data from moment A in time to moment B in time. So the size is, it's not, we have the time constraints, but we have no, let's say, the data limits. The second one, which was based on indexes, was a little bit easier because we knew already how many records we will try to collect. So the two jobs have been dedicated and redeveloped. In general, they've been much more simpler, reflecting the approach which was described on the beginning. So the query definition, the dynamic part, data collection, stable part, and extract preparation. The next step we did, and that was something which was mentioned on the previous presentations as well, we've decided to go for, let's say, definition extracts. So all table names, column names, additional conditions have been extracted into variables, and they've been moved away from the job. That allowed us to create some kind of parameterization table, which consists of the table name, index names, if there was an index, because as you remember, I hope, there were another jobs which were containing the time-related queries and others, yeah. On top of that, we've added some kind of, let's say, control variables, which helped us to simply control jobs execution. So, as I mentioned previously, the tables they've been dependent one on each other, so we need to put them in some kind of order. And we had another column which allowed us to limit the number of tables to those ones which we are interested in. That allowed us, without any changes to the job, limit the number of the data which is returned. As a result of the total, the whole project, 4 jobs have been created. All those jobs, as I said, they are much more simpler. As you can compare the master job on the left-hand side to the master job on the right-hand side. As I said, and that was already stated previously, master job, this is the something which is, let's say, laying on the top of all jobs or activities which are related to a certain activity set, yeah. The master job, which was responsible for the orchestration, it was published to the cloud and executed. So this is the way the tables are driven, let's say. As I said, we have time-based tables. This is the job which is responsible for the collection of the data for those tables which are driven by time. And we have another job which is index-based tables. This one is responsible for those tables which are collected based on a certain index. Usually, this index comes from the job which was executed from the table which was collected previously. And of course, we have some kind of exception, but exceptions always confirm the rule. We have a single table which is using simply another endpoint, which uses completely another structure. So we had to develop one dedicated job for a single dedicated table. From the customer perspective, that was a real win. Yeah. What they found, first of all, complexity of the solution. From 100 plus jobs, we've been able to decrease the number to 4. The clarity of the approach. Here we know exactly what is executed when, after what, and why. Testability. This solution is really easy to be tested because we can test a single job, we can test the whole master job, we can test it for a single table because we can use another steering parameters which are in the external table. And what is very important, we have only 4 jobs in total to be tested. We are not talking about 100 jobs. The master job developed and deployed once is executed without any changes, truly speaking. Simplicity of expansion. Why? Because there is no need right now to change jobs if we want to change the data we want to collect. If we want to add a new table, as long as there will be no dramatic change on a typical site like endpoint or something, we are changing or we are adding only the line to our parameters table. That's it. If we want to change the scope of the data within a single table, we simply change the columns. If we want to change the conditions, there is a column which is called end conditions, additional conditions. We can place conditions there, and they are used during the creation of the query, and they are used for the proper data collection. How was it possible? And I will repeat my previous speakers. Yeah. Jobs reusability. Once created job can be used multiple times. So this is the first thing. Think about it. If you create something, try to build it in a way that it's can be reused. Then jobs parameterization. That was mentioned as well yesterday, the day before yesterday. We can use external parameters to drive jobs. There is no need to store everything within the job. It can be extended, it can lay somewhere else. Naming conventions, it's good to use naming conventions in the job. And that was mentioned as well, I think 2 days ago, that job templates, design patterns, naming conventions, widely used within an organization by all talent developers, that are really helping. Standardization of jobs, error handling, stuff like that, implemented once, works. Of course, there are cons of this solution, because right now we don't know what to do with talent developers because they have nothing to do. The good things that organization is growing, they have other areas of the development as well. Instead of the last slide, so this is my promise. This is almost the last slide. Qlik Talend Data Fabric is a kind of IT tool box resolving business problems. It can be widely used within the data warehousing. When we create project, when we want to redesign project or redesign solution. But one good advice, don't be afraid to use this tool, and don't be afraid to use right tool. During these weeks, we've seen various parts of Talend Data Fabric or Qlik Talend Data Fabric acting as more or less complex solution. Talend Data Fabric can be tailored to your particular needs. There's no need to buy, to use everything. You can pick up the part which is interesting for you. It addresses your needs, requirements, or even limitations. Here I would like to refer to the situation when some companies are not able to run something on cloud. As an example, they need something on premise. So Talend Data Fabric answers to those needs as well. Talent data integration, mentioned a couple of times during webinars, is a kind of foundation for other activities. acts as an engine for others, but a very specific one. What is the specifics of this engine? This engine can be used by itself only. Means if I have a Talend data studio, I can build jobs, I can build solutions, I can use them. There's no need, if there is no need, to use other pieces, but it very, very much helps. Of course, the tool capabilities are limited, but I will take this risk and I will say that the limitation is your imagination. Really, Talend can replace software development in many places in your organization. And one more thing, which has been presented, I hope, here. When you start to develop something in Talend, start with something small, with a vision of the big picture in mind, because this is the way you can avoid the situation that something which works fine for 3, 4, I don't know, 10 tables can be implemented to 100 tables, because this is exactly what this customer did. He was using a very simple copy-paste approach, copying job, changing inside the query, changing inside the structure of the data, placing another sub-job, adding it to the master job, and creating, let's say, a big mess of dependencies inside. One more thing, all roads are leading to Rome. And that was already mentioned in previous presentation. There is no single solution for your challenges within Talend. You can approach this in various ways. This is a very important, especially on the beginning of the Talend products implementation and usage. The learning curve of Talend Data Fabric products is straightforward. It's supported by very good Talend Academy, mentioned as well. And new possibilities, ideas, solutions are appearing really quickly. So it makes sense to address them as quickly as possible. And this is the place for your questions. Thank you that you've been passionate. I believe you are still with me. Sławek, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Karol. It was like a fast road from heaven to hell and back to heaven. So thank you for your presentation. I see a couple of questions which I will ask now, so we can respond.
Please.
Yes. So the first one is actually related to something what we can call people competencies. So how much time is needed to learn Talend solutions? And one more, which is also a bit linked to the previous one, what are the competencies people in the organization should have before starting to learn and use Talend solutions?
I will try to unpack this piece by piece. Answering the first part of the question, what is the, let's say, learning curve? I've mentioned that we have something which is called Promity Academy, and of course we are providing Talend trainings as well. And the standard training, which allows to build, create, develop jobs by how do we call it, himself, by self, it takes 3 days, which is 24, let's say 24 hours in total, 3 times 8 hours. Some exercises, definition. The most important thing is to understand the tool. Why we have so many pieces, why we have something on the left-hand side, why do we have something on the right-hand side, what's inside, how to run this, what is the outcome, and so on and so on. So in my opinion, 3 days of let's say intense training is enough. If you go for talent training academy. There are pretty good development paths, which leads you from the very beginning to the very end. In time, it takes a little bit longer, but it's very easy to repeat something. Talend provides as well something like training environments. So there is no need, truly speaking, to run Talend locally to learn it. Yeah, because you can launch the virtual machine on a Talend site or Qlik site right now, and to execute tasks which are within the training. About the competencies, as I said, of course, it should be rather somebody who knows what is programming about. I'm not talking about the programmers. I'm not talking about the Java programmer. The Java programmer, this is, I think, the creme de la creme in this case, because, as I said, Talend, first of all, works with Java, so there is no problem to build functionality using Java code. Even there are components which allows you to add Java code. So if you are a Java programmer, no problem to put the code inside. And truly speaking, you can create a job which has a single component, which is a Java component. Everything inside is a Java prepared by the programmer. But this is not a must. Starting point, I know cases, personally, I know cases where even guys from finance, they've been learning Talend, and they've been using Talend creating small jobs. Yes, small jobs, not complicated, but they get rid of all Excel spreadsheets or Access, let's say, solutions where they've been combining, pivoting, summing up, selecting data. And right now they are simply connecting to the data source, picking up the data, and they are getting the data for the result for the final report. So definitely it's not a must to be a programmer. It helps, but as I said, the word is yours.
Okay, so there was also a question about Java, and I think you answered this question already. So next one is related to, I see here a question which is, I think, rather for me. So the pricing strategy is kind of not for Eastern European market. Is considering lowering prices or including some parts in SaaS. So in fact, some parts started already to be included in SaaS, and there is going to be more of that coming in of next months and quarters and years as the integration between Qlik solutions and Talend just started, to be honest. Pricing strategy, I can only encourage all of you to come to us and us as sales guys and to talk. So as always, price is is a kind of a starting point for discussion about what customer needs, what the customer budget is, and how to provide customer with the value thanks to our products, but respecting budget limitations on customer side. I know these are quite rounded words which I use, but I simply encourage you to come to us and negotiate and talk and about these limitations and possibilities. And I don't guarantee that for all cases we will find the answer and the proposal, but at least we try to do our best to fit to what's possible. Then the question, missed the first 2 days already making structure meta settings in Qlik. Why add Talend?
May I answer?
Yes, go ahead.
The answer is very simple, I think. As I've mentioned, the Talend is another horse in a team of Qlik. And I've mentioned already that there is no need to use the whole team. You can pick up pieces of Qlik for certain activities. For certain activities, you can pick up Talend. As an example, if you want to create the REST ESB services, you are not able to do this in Qlik, but you can do this in Talend. Yeah, as I said, Talend, it's not only ETL solution. You can create a lot of various things where Qlik doesn't fit into, but this is the place Talend comes into the game.
Okay, hope that's this answers the question. What Talend is already in SaaS? So, in fact, from the beginning, we have this is what Karol has been also talking about the on-prem version and the cloud version of Talend. Now, some of the, let's say, components of this old traditional or legacy talent solutions are going to be provided also from SaaS, and this is right now about the pipeline designer, which is already included. And as I said, so there is more to come, and since we are going to have in actually 2 weeks our biggest conference happening in Orlando, and we all, I mean, most like US customers, our partners, community, and even people in Qlik internally expect many new announcements regarding the integration between Qlik and Talend. So be patient, and 2 weeks more, and for sure we'll learn quite a lot about that. I see one more question about the Talend Studio and jobs integration with different talent solutions. So this, I suppose, again, Karol, question to you.
What is the question?
About the integration of Talend Studio between different talent solutions, right? So.
Okay. So do I understand the question? If we have the possibility to integrate other Talend components within with the Talend Studio, yes?
Yes, this is how I would read this question.
Okay. So as I said, the Talend Studio is a kind of foundation basement for other pieces of other components which have been already described yesterday and the day before yesterday. Talend has components which allows us to collect data, prepare data for, as an example, data steward or data preparation. So this is a kind of glue between those elements, which can, first of all, prepare, then can as well orchestrate the data flow within the business processes in the organization. As an example, coming back to the yesterday's presentation, we've been talking about the data quality. First of all, using the data quality and profiling, we are checking the quality of the data, and this is done within the Talend Studio. Yeah, Talend Studio is able to pick up the data which is incorrect, can send this data to data stewardship, which has been described yesterday as a tool which allows us to fix the data, can monitor the progress, not only as a drawing, let's say, but can use some kind of approach that it's checking the data has been corrected. If not, it is updated with new values. And then it was mentioned yesterday that Talend collects the data from, and this is done through Talend Studio, collects the data from campaigns which are created in our data stewardship, and sends this data to our databases, to our source data, let's say, updating them. So this works somehow as a kind of glue between those components.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I think with that we can close the session. So thank you for attending, joining us, being with us. I can only encourage you to reach out to our partners, to us as Qlikies with all questions, concerns, ideas. regarding your potential projects, prospects, opportunities you think that Talend would be a good fit. So I can only encourage you to do that. And with that, thank you and have a happy rest of the day.